Malatesta here with VYPE Media, Coach's Corner. Episcopal Volleyball dominated this season. They win the SPC Championship. We are joined with Coach McMillian. The coach last year at St. Agnes moves over first year and wins an SPC title in her first year at Episcopal after coming off state title after state title at St. Agnes. Coach, welcome. Okay, just give us the download. What was the vibe like after the game? What was the whole weekend like?
Oh, I mean, we are on cloud nine, and I think we're still there right now. I just felt like the girls were just in a really good place. They were poised and prepped for the battle, and I could tell that they wanted it. The seniors were ready. It was almost like they had this vision, and they weren't going to let it go. And you could just feel that vibe throughout the whole team. And it wasn't a lot of anxiety or nervous energy by any means. You know, beginning with Kincaid on Thursday, going in and just playing really good volleyball. And we were coming off of the SBC, playing teams in the South Zone where we had been playing well consistently. And you always, as a coach, you're just always watching your teams because you don't want to peak too early. And so it's all about the training and the different phases that you're undergoing with your team in preparation for just kind of peaking at the right time. And so I felt like we were playing well consistently in the South Zone leading up to the tournament. And, you know, I was just, you know, praying that we would continue to play well and just play our game. And that's what we continually just talk to them about is we don't have to do anything different. Of course, when we get in the battle, we'll have to make some adjustments and modify some things, but everything we're going to see, we've been prepped for all along. It's just a matter of, you know, who can play the best game, have the most efficiency out of their systems, enjoy the ride while you're doing it, and then make the adjustments when it matters. And I'm so proud to say that we did that. We did that against Kincaid. We rolled on them in 3 and dominated on Thursday. We came back again, hungry again against Greenville on Friday, did a good job of just understanding the game plan there and who we wanted to go after and what we needed to do on our end. And we did a really good job of just owning that and holding each other accountable to those goals and then meeting the expectations of what it was going to take to get us to that state match. And then finally, when we got to Hockaday, you know, we had a good pregame meal together, just overlooked that scouting report one more time. And then we did what we call locked in, and we slayed it according to their terminology and beat them in 3. And so it was just really good to see. I mean, even after the first set against Hockaday, when we were battling to come back, because we had gotten down a few points, that we weren't nerved. We didn't come unraveled. I knew from early on in the season that this team knew how to battle. So we had that in our back pocket in August. I knew we knew how to battle. It was just a matter of teaching us how to win, you know, because anybody can fight, but not every team can win. And it was so nice to see that I knew we were going to battle, but yet at that point, I also knew that we had the stamina and the mindset to win.
You know, talk about, you know, it being your first year. They seem to have bought into the program immediately. What was that like as being an accomplishment of winning it in your first year?
Yeah, I think buy-in is one of the biggest parts. You know, if I were to go and people are saying you need to write a book, if I were to write a book, you know, when you come in and you talk about, you know, culture and if you need to change it or shift it, you know, you have to figure out who those key components are and you have to get buy-in first. So there's nothing happening in the shifting or changing of culture if you don't have buy-in. And I knew coming off the bat, you know, right after I had accepted the job, I wanted to meet with the seniors in the senior class and just get a vision of like what they wanted to experience. What were they looking for? What were some of those traditions that they wanted to hold on to? Because I wanted to be mindful and respectful of those. And then what did they want to see done differently? And what part or role did they want to play in that? Because that's a key, very key component when you're coming in as a new coach and you know, you have a level of success and expectations, but if you can't get your program and your key players to buy in, then it's almost like you're just butting heads and going nowhere seemingly. So that was a key part is, you know, getting the vision of the seniors. And when they opened their mouths and they said they wanted an SBC championship, well, I remember my little heart lit up, my eyes lit up. I remember leaning forward in my chair and said, okay, I can match that now with intensity and passion and drive, because I wanted to work for them. And so, it became mutually beneficial where we were working for each other and navigating what those actions needed to look like so that we could match our goals and get what we wanted out of this season.
And talk about your daughter moving over also. It's a transition also for her coming to a new school. What was it like winning another title and her right by your side?
Yeah, professionally, I can talk about all the gains and what that brought to me from a professional standpoint. But personally, I knew it was going to be a lot for her. It is hard for any kid to come in and transfer in as a junior right before your junior year. And it was a big ask that I had to do because I changed jobs. And we had to navigate that. We had to navigate that as mother-daughter. We also had to navigate that as coach and player. And there was a lot that she had on her shoulders and on her plate, specifically in order to get just enthralled in the environment and the community here. So she was on her end trying to figure out how to get friends and present herself as something different than the coach's daughter. And at the same time, on the flip side, she had just won state with another team and it was hungry again to back that up. And so, I'm super proud of her and the young lady who she is, and what she had to battle in order to do both, gain the respect of her teammates and at the same time be friends with them as well coming in. And I can't say enough to the team and how much they've been warm and welcoming of her as a person and kind of helping her to identify herself, not as much as the coach's daughter, but by Michaela and her name and the qualities and skills in which she brings to the table. So that speaks a lot to the team and the type of young ladies that we have on our team as well.
And finally, talk about some of the other headliners that really propelled y'all this season.
Yeah, so we have two of our seniors. One is Fair Farouk, the other Ava Harrington, were just offensive and defensive weapons for us all season long. And both of them are Division I players, and we were looking to see them continue their playing careers on at the next level. But both of them just did a great job. I mean, if you watched in the tournament play or had an opportunity to see us these last few matches, they're unstoppable. They hit hitting percentages higher than a .700, which is off the chains. That's a testimony to the quality of passers that we have. We have some really good first ball contact and kids who can pass the ball, and the work that our setters put in order to distribute the ball and give them the ball. So both of them, I mean, you couldn't stop them. And then they were huge blocking presence for us. I think we probably led the conference in blocking, and it's because of those two young ladies. And aside from that, they're just awesome student athletes. And the student part of that, meaning in the classroom and as people and their personalities, were just very much what we needed as a team. Strikingly different, but at the same time, were great pieces to the puzzle to help us kind of put it all together this year.
And finally, just talk about the transition. What was the great parts? What was the challenges of coming over from TAPS to SPC?
Yeah. I knew coming over, I knew a lot about the personnel here because obviously we had played them last year at Agnes when I was at Agnes. So I knew we had some good pieces, and when people asked me in August, what I thought about the team, all I could say is we have a lot of work to do. We have a lot of work to do. Because we did. Not only were we working on shifting the culture and what all that meant in terms of a program, but the skill and the development of the game and understanding just higher level volleyball also had to be installed and then drilled over and over again. And, it's very hard sometimes when people talk about winning championships or wanting to be the best, they don't always understand the accountability that comes into play and the workload that comes into play. And there were times that we were in the trenches together as a team and we had to navigate, what does it look like to be gritty? What does it look like to be in here together? And then when we don't like where we're at, how do we still hold each other accountable to get to the next level? And so one of the things we kept using this year was talking about how the load doesn't get any easier. We just get better at handling the hard. And so we talked about that over and over, that an easy bus isn't coming. Every time we met together, I'd say when we walk out the door, the easy bus isn't coming. We just get better at handling the hard. And I felt like there were challenges that kept coming, whether it was on the court or we had some things that happened to players, off the court, that kind of really brought us together. And there's one thing I know to be true is you have to bond to battle. And by golly gee, we were tested it several times on the strength of our bonds together and our loyalty and trust to each other. And it just showed at the end that we had accomplished those bonds because we were able to not only battle, but to win.
Well said. All right. So, hey, she did it again. Coach McMillian wins another state championship, state championships at the TAPS level, now moves over to SPC, gets it done. Watch out for them as they continue to build a power in Houston, on the private school landscape here. Kudos to you, Coach. It's kind of exciting to see you do it at different levels. It's awesome.
Yeah, thank you.
And congrats for you and your daughter being able to kind of do it together. That's super cool.
Thank you.
All right, this is Matt with VYPE with the Coach's Corner. Thanks for Coach McMillian of Episcopal High School joining us. Hey, we'll see y'all at the games.